A Pound of Feathers, the new album from the Black Crowes, shows why the Robinson brothers are still among the best making classic rock and roll music today, but could have used some better songs worthy of the band's excellent back catalog. I'm going to break it all down on this edition of Rock Album Review. Hey everybody, it's Nick here with you. Welcome back to the channel. A Pound of Feathers is the 10th studio album from the Black Crowes. It's the follow-up to 2024's Happiness Bastards. And I did a rock album review for Happiness Bastards here on the channel when the album came out back in 2024, which was the triumphant return of the Black Crowes after 15 years away. And it was an album that I really enjoyed, so I'm going to link that up for you here. And I also did a rock albums ranked video for the Black Crowes before the release of Happiness Bastards, ranking all of their studio albums from least favorite to favorite. I don't like to say worst to best, and you can watch that here. And I've been a Black Crowes fan for a very, very long time, going back at least 20 years. I've only ever seen them live once, and that was back in 2001 on the tour of Brotherly Love with Oasis. I was front row for that tour. I got soaked going into the show, but it's definitely one of the most epic double bills that I've ever seen. And we can't forget Space Hog was on that bill too. When it comes to the Black Crowes, I just think they're a great meat and potatoes rock and roll band, and I love the interplay between Chris and Rich Robinson. And I really enjoyed Happiness Bastards, and I felt that after 15 years away, the Black Crowes hadn't really skipped a beat, so I was very much looking forward to this new record, A Pound of Feathers. And I'm disappointed to say that I think that A Pound of Feathers was not a very strong listen. I'm very disappointed because I love the Black Crowes, I love the band, and they definitely haven't lost any of their luster when it comes to performing or recording an album, but I just think that the songwriting on this album overall was really weak. Overall, I think that Happiness Bastards was a much stronger album. Aside from a song or two on here on A Pound of Feathers, I don't think anything was as good as Wanting and Waiting or Dirty Cold Sun or Flesh Wound or Follow the Moon. That record had a lot of songs that I really enjoyed, and I found the songs on here were weak in comparison. And if you want to go back even further to the band's heyday in the 90s and 2000s, their first era of the Black Crowes, I don't think any of the songs on here hold a candle to songs like Twice as Hard or Kicking My Heart Around or Soul Singin' or Evergreen or anything from the first 2 decades of the band. Not that every song has to be their best, not that every song on this record has to compare to their biggest hits, but to me, this album falls short. Before we continue, guys, if you like this review, you like this channel, make sure to toss me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. And make sure to smash the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos, and we can talk about our favorite bands here on the channel. So make sure to smash the subscribe button. All right, let's get back to it. Don't get me wrong, the performances on this album are top notch. Chris Robinson is still an amazing vocalist, one of the best in rock and roll, belting it out on songs like the album opener Profane Prophecy or It's Like That, or even going into a lower register on Pharmacy Chronicles or High and Lonesome. The man is still one of the best vocalists in rock and roll. And of course, I love all these soulful backup vocals on this album. I'm a huge soul and blues fan, and the soulful backup vocals have always been a huge hallmark of the Black Crowes sound, so shout out to the backup singers. And on the flip side, we have Rich Robinson providing the riffage on this record. He still sounds absolutely fantastic. Lots of great fuzzy guitar tones on here, lots of signature open tunings on a lot of his riffs, which has always been a hallmark of his sound. So you have songs like Profane Prophecy. I really love the riffage on that. Cruel Streak, which reminded me of like a riff from like Zeppelin 2 or something like that. And You Call This a Good Time. There is a lot to enjoy when it comes to the guitar stuff on this album. There's even a great amount of groove on this record, which is to be expected for a Black Crowes album. I found myself shaking my ass a little bit on here. Profane Prophecy is the type of song that gives you some swagger and puts a swing in your step. I really like that. Do the Parasite, same kind of deal on that. And then the When the Levee Breaks vibes of Doomsday Doggerel. I like saying that title. And of course, there's going to be a Zeppelin influence on the Black Crowes. That has always been there. I found myself kind of peacocking with Chris Robinson a couple of times on this album. But when it comes to the actual songs on the album, to me, at the end of the day, that's what I'm here for. Songs I can connect with and grab onto. And there's not a lot here that's memorable to me. The Black Crowes are capable of much better songwriting and way better melodies, even in comparison to the last album, which I thought was very strong in that department. The rockier songs on this album all had a very similar formula to me, and then the softer songs on the record didn't really hold the emotional punch that I was looking for. It just felt like there was a lot going on, but there just wasn't a lot to grab onto and kind of take with me after listening to this record. Production-wise, I think this album sounds okay. You got great guitar tones from Rich Robinson, already mentioned that. Solid mixing, some good drum sounds on there as well, even though we don't have Steve Gorman back in the drum seat for the Black Crowes right now. He still hasn't rejoined the band, which is kind of a shame. And then Chris Robinson's vocals always cut through the mix, which is nice to hear. And this album still has some great lyrics on it as well. Chris Robinson still has a great way with words. Some of my favorite lyrics on this record, on Profane Prophecy, he says, "A pound of feathers, a pound of pain," which would have been a cool inclusion on the album title. Maybe include both parts of that lyric in the album title. On Cruel Streak, he says, "You have to have a cruel streak if you want to play nice with me." That's a great Black Crowes lyric. Queen of the B-sides, he says he's broke down, stoned, and blue, which is a lyric that I feel like a lot of us can relate to in these times. He also says, "If you can't find true love, an accomplice will do," which is actually a really cool lyric as well when you think about it. And then there's a great breakup line on Blood Red Regrets. Love that title. "You gave me bruises and blood red regrets." So if you're going through a breakup, this is a good song to listen to. And I gotta hand it to the Black Crowes. There are some great song titles on this album. As a songwriter myself, I always love a good title. So there's some alliterative stuff on here. Profane Prophecy, Do the Parasite, Queen of the B-sides, Blood Red Regrets, Doomsday Doggerel. I love me a good title. But I really wish the songs themselves were as strong and as catchy as the titles for the songs, and I'm kind of disappointed that they weren't. And I know it sounds like this review I'm shitting on the band's new crop of songs, which is not true because I did enjoy a bunch of the songs on this record. I just didn't feel myself really singing along with anything or really enjoying it as much as I wanted to, but I did like a bunch of these songs. I really like Profane Prophecy, Cruel Streak, Queen of the B-sides, and Blood Red Regrets. Overall, I think A Pound of Feathers, the new album from the Black Crowes, is a weak effort. The band sounds great, don't get me wrong. These guys still know how to make a great record that sounds awesome, but the songwriting is off the mark and could have used some more time to hone the melodies and really write some songs worthy of the band's back catalog. The Black Crowes have a lot of great songs. I don't really know how many of them are going to kind of fit into the pantheon of great Black Crowes music, even on the last album, Happiness Bastards, which I really loved. So I'm going to give the new album from Black Crowes, A Pound of Feathers, a 2.5 out of 5. And that is it, guys. That is my rock album review for the new album from the Black Crowes called A Pound of Feathers. I really wish I liked this album more than I did, but I found myself a little bit underwhelmed by the latest effort from the Black Crowes. But the thing is, with these rock album reviews, this is always my first listen, my first reaction after listening to an album once. And this is the Black Crowes, which is a band I really like, so I have a feeling that some of this will grow on me over time on subsequent listens, but we'll see how that goes. But for right now, it's your turn to hop into the comments below. Let me know what you thought of the new album from the Black Crowes. Make sure to toss me a thumbs up and a like. I'd really appreciate that. And if you like what I'm doing here on the channel, you want to talk more about our favorite bands, make sure to smash the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. But I'll see you guys again for another rock album review here on the channel. Until then, rock on, everybody.